Oh no. No. We're not going to be
that
couple that sits at a restaurant. You've been on a date before, and you go to a restaurant and you say, "Look at that old couple over there," and they're just sitting over there like they don't have nothing to say to each other, like they're just waiting to die. Like, baby, that's not going to be us. We're always going to be fun. We're always going to be adventurous. We're always going to have something to say. And then years later,
silence.
Here you go. So our topic tonight is we're going to address that and much more. Hello, my name is Vincent.
And Valerie. Woodard.
And on Couples Pursuit, we aim to give you the tools so you can help maintain and live a successful and have a successful marriage.
Yes.
And on this episode of Couples Pursuit, we're going to talk about
a question. The question is it normal for couples not to talk to each other?
Couples do it all the time.
Right.
So apparently it's normal. But the question I believe they should ask, is it actually healthy to not have anything to say to each other after a while?
Right.
To not have any new experiences to share with each other. To not have anything we want to share and talk about with our spouse because either you're avoiding a situation or you might be considered as nagging. And if I keep talking, he's going to shut down again, so on. And so that's not healthy for your relationship to avoid having conversations with one another.
Yes. I agree. For couples not to talk is a norm because we've seen it. When we were dating, we saw it. I remember it was an older couple, but our last date night in December, we went out. Our date night in December, we went out and we sat and talked about what we're going to do, with Couples Pursuit this coming year. And right across from us, close enough to touch almost, was a couple who didn't say a single word to each other the whole time that we were there. And they were already there when we came. They sat eating and swiping. And that's it.
I remember that.
The gentleman was on his phone more, I think, than the young lady was, but it was just eating and, they interacted with the waitress or the waiter, but they didn't interact with one another. Not a single word was said. And this was a young couple.
The whole meal, yeah.
It was the entire meal. And so it is the norm for some people that when they get together, after a while, they don't have conversation, right? Or for two people to meet one another, and if we're talking about dating in this day and age and what they call dating, hooking up and all of that, conversation is not necessary. But when we're talking about marriage, we're talking about kingdom marriage, we're talking about partnership, we're talking about covenant, we should always be open to engage with one another. Taking into account differences in personalities, communication styles, there still should be a level of healthy daily interaction with your partner aside from good morning and good night. You can't really live in that space. So I guess you can, because apparently some people do. Right.
But I urge you to not live in that space because a relationship, just a word alone, is that it's when two people are suitable or compatible or similar to one another and they want to connect. We think that they should connect, either be people, things, you can say those buildings, they're similar, or people that's relatable. I can understand it. And then the word ship is just saying to master something or to master the skill of, leadership, whatever, relationship. Master the skill of relating to one another. And that's an ongoing thing. Leadership. Leaders constantly learn. They're constantly headship. We're always praying to God, seeking guidance, how we should lead our family. Relationship. Same thing. We cannot get to a point where it gets stale and we just stop trying to learn new things for our relationship. And even if you do feel you might be in this place, there are so many things that we can do. We're going to cover some of those things, but it's also great to ask the questions like, what got us here? What got us to a place?
How did we get here? Were you always the couple that did you not have things in common when you got married? Did the only thing you have in common was the only thing you had in common, the time that you shared together,
Mm-hmm.
the dating, the dinners, the movies, the interactions that you had, but you have no similar interests
Mm-hmm.
to one another. He might like to be active and she may like to read books,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so your quiet time doesn't, you know, match up. That's one thing. So you take a little time and you spend that time doing what you like, and then he spends time doing what he likes, but you should always be able to come together and find something in common
That's
to
right.
do together.
That's right.
Now
right.
that's one side of the norm for people not talking all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to think about the other side of the coin, and that is ineffective communication.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not talking? Is one person or the other not talking because they don't know how to relate to one another, or because the way they relate to one another is toxic
Mm-hmm.
for one partner or the other? So then one person might be what we would call the avoidant,
Mm-hmm.
the person that's going to shut down and be like, you know what, I don't really want to engage. Or the other person is like the pursuant, is the
Mm-hmm.
person that's like, what's wrong? Talk to me, open up, tell me this,
Mm-hmm.
answer this question, and then that can create a ticking time bomb of its own, right?
Yes.
Because that person who is the avoidant person, they don't want to be bothered.
Mm-hmm.
And they could not want to be bothered for several reasons. And some of those reasons may include, I didn't grow up sharing my feelings.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Why you always want to talk about how you feel?
Every day. I just told you how I felt yesterday.
Right. I love you. It's, why you keep asking me that? Why do I need to tell you
Mm-hmm.
that I love you? Don't you already know that? Well, no, because love is a noun and a verb. You
Mm-hmm.
say it and you portray it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
I like that.
That person may not feel like they need to emote every single thing. Or maybe when they grew up, they did express their emotions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were shut down. So it's like, well, I've learned that when I say how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
I get antagonized about it, or my feelings were hurt about it. I was misunderstood. My heart was broken, etc., etc. I felt vulnerable and out of control,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't ever want to feel that way again.
Mm-hmm.
So now I got myself a wife or a husband. I'm good. This relationship is good. I love him or her. I don't want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
how I feel. I just want to exist. And I especially don't want to talk about how I feel if I'm the person who is in error.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to tell me I'm wrong. I don't want to hear about myself. Right?
Right.
So I'm going to shut you down.
Yeah, and sometimes we find that sometimes it's the guy that's kind of not talkative. Some guys talk a whole lot. My
Mm-hmm.
goodness, I know some brothers that
I
can
know
go.
a couple.
But in in a lot of relationships, the guy's kind of the one where I don't really say a lot. I'm kind of my love action. My love language is service and acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just you should know how I feel just by the things that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're together and in their mind they might say we have to talk. I don't really have a lot to say because I said it all through my actions.
Yeah.
Done. Drop the spoon.
Not the spoon, baby.
Not the spoon. And don't get me wrong. I know there are relationships that the couple the man kind of does his thing, the woman kind of does her thing. They might come together for dinner and talk for a little bit, and then we're done. Tomorrow, wake up, go to work. It's kind of that same routine or whatever. And you might think it works for you. That's for you to judge. What I want to make you ponder, or hopefully you will ponder and think, is that are we really getting the best use of this relationship?
This
time together. Because it can be over in a flash. It's done. The kids can get grown, be out the house, and it's just you and that person. And we're looking at Jeopardy, Steve Harvey, going to bed, waking up, looking at really. And I know. Why I'm so passionate about this is because I knew a man that he came to me one day and he said, Vincent, I don't understand. I said, well,
oh, wow.
What's wrong? And he said, well, I got home, all my wife's stuff was gone. She cleaned the closet out, and she left me a note and said, here are the keys.
Wow.
I was like, what? So you didn't have any idea what was going on? He said, no, I thought everything was good. And he's a quiet man already, so in my mind I'm kind of like putting pieces together. But I'm like, okay, well, did you see anything? No, she didn't say anything. And I'm saying, did you ask her if she's happy? Did you have a conversation with her? Did you
did you engage?
Did you engage?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, she knows that I love her. I'm like, well, like when y'all got married like 30 years ago, you said. No, I didn't. He's
exaggerating, but
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I also know of someone who came home and their wife had packed up all their things and gone. And unfortunately, when you don't have regular communication, right? And then you have a person who avoids conversation, who avoids confrontation, who avoids dealing with the tough subjects, right? Once you get comfortable with that, the person who is the avoidant person, they're happy in that space. The person who is the pursuing partner or who doesn't have that character or personality, they are not happy and they're never going to be happy in that space. They may learn to cope with it, but it doesn't mean that they're happy. And I think that that can be one of the situations where you come home and you find that person is gone, or that person has unfortunately had an affair, or they have stopped having sex or being intimate with you, and you wonder, well, what's wrong? Well, why? Well, you never talk to me.
Yeah.
So it's not push a button, breakfast, push a button, laundry, push a button, dinner, push a button, sex, push a button. Talk to me. Intimacy is more than intercourse, right? And so for a woman, for many women, I can't speak for every woman, but women in general, we want to be talked to. We want to be paid attention to. And it's not the mythical treat me like a princess kind of thing, because I'm not a little girl. I'm a woman, right? But I want his eyes on me before he puts his hands on me, right? Because I need you to see me as a person, not as an object, not as the object of your satisfaction. I want you to see me that way as well.
Yeah.
That's mutual. But first, I need to be a person. I need to be a partner. I need to be a friend. I need to be a confidant. And if I can't be all those things, for a woman, it's difficult for her to open up and give herself to you.
Yes. And so that's why we went into the communication camp. And we're staying here because there's so many couples that we see, we run across, we talk to, just with on the online, we email. It's just so many couples that have similar issues, but they got there different ways. But it kind of all boils down to, well, he doesn't talk to me.
Right.
He doesn't want to talk to me, and he won't tell me what's wrong. And I'm not throwing my brothers under the bus, but
women for the most part are talkers.
I hear it.
Yeah.
And brothers, we have to look. Just because you never, you got something to talk about when you want to talk about it. Man, I can sit.
Say that.
Yeah, I can sit somewhere at a ball game, meet a total stranger. We could talk about LeBron. We could talk about football. We could talk about this Seattle trade with. Whatever. We could talk about quarterbacks and who got the most money or who don't deserve that much money, and we could talk about for
a long time.
Yeah, a long time. But these same brothers I'm hearing won't share with their wife, won't talk to their wife. Well, my wife doesn't like football. Well, what does your wife like?
Right. It matters what she likes, and it matters what you like. And sometimes it's more difficult for men to open up about emotions. You've been trained, shut it down, don't cry, don't be soft, all these other things. But being emotional, being vulnerable, being transparent, being communicative does not make you soft.
No. No.
It makes your mate soften towards you. It doesn't make you soft. And why shouldn't you know what is going on inside of the mind and heart of the person that you're closest to? They want you to know that. And when she knows that about you, then she can relate to you in a way that is pleasing to you. So she doesn't bother you when the game is on, because she knows that's what you like. I'm not going to have a conversation with you then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you might want to come and just join and be in your presence. So you join us. We're talking about, is it normal for married couples not to talk? And we started this conversation saying that, it can be normalized.
Right.
We can get to a point where this is what we do. We've done it for years, and it works for one person, or it could maybe work for both. But the question, the deeper question I would like to propose, is it healthy for your relationship to not talk for periods, maybe even days at a time? Now I know that we do go through situations, and me and my wife, we've been at a place for a while. We can enjoy each other's company. We can sit and talk, sit and not talk. We can sit and read or do something else, but we in each other's company, and we're like, man, I'm good. I'm in a good place. I feel good. But it's never a case where I don't have anything to talk about. I have anything to share. My wife, this couples pursuit, I'm so excited about it. I'm so passionate about it. And on date night, we try not to. We talk about work, and maybe one time try to get whatever's on our chest, and talk about whatever might be going on with the kid. We give it one good time to get it out, But then after the rest of the night, we want to, enjoy this moment, enjoy this experience. We try to go to either one of our favorite places, or we pick a new experience, so we can enjoy that and talk about that moment. And so I get to talk about Couples Pursuit. I get to talk about videos. I get to talk about the book. Which we're going to write. I get to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Right. And my wife, she's like kind of joking me a little bit. She's like, "Baby, we're basically talking about work." And I'm like, "Why, this is not." Yeah, I guess it is, because this is what I would love to do full time. I would love to make these videos. I would love to share with you every Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I love it, but I understand what she's saying. She's like, are we going to? This is going to be our job after a while. This is going to be what we do. And so I understand that we have to enjoy the experience and not always be in the mindset of career, work, family, kids.
Yeah, we have to continue to get to know one another. Continue to spend that time like we did when we were dating. And you just wanted to kind of look at each other, share one another, check each other out. Oh, you smell good. Oh, you look nice. Get those giddy feelings that we still have after 22 years almost of marriage and 25 years of being together. And talk about things that we want to do, things that we like, things that we enjoy. What's on the long list of what they call the bucket list, or it's okay to talk about work, and we can talk about Couples Pursuit all day long and all the other endeavors that we have, and I don't mind that. But what I do want to always be aware of is that we don't put anything before our marriage.
That's right.
Nothing drives us. Right? We drive it. We drive Couples Pursuit.
That's right.
Couples Pursuit doesn't drive us. Exactly. It can't become who we are.
We
it's
have
a huge part of who we are.
To do. Right. We don't start this car and we can't control it. No. This is what we choose to do and we want to do. So I don't have like an option to. Well, I'm not even worried about running out of things to talk about, because I know how me and my wife operate. We love to live. We like to live in the moment. We also like to live in the think about
Look
the future.
Forward to the future.
And not so much about the past. We know we recognize our mistakes, but we are constantly want to be present, ever present of what we're doing now and enjoy it, because this is like this 2 minutes ago is gone.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the replay and you can watch it again, but to live in it is gone. So you want to enjoy this moment now. So if you're at a dinner and you're just, eating and for 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we don't have anything to share, new experience.
That's symptomatic of a distance. Distance that is between you or that's growing. Now, sometimes, if we're out in public and we see someone, it may not be. They could have just come from the hospital, right? Visiting someone who's ill or whatever, and they sit and they're having they're reflecting. A lot of things could be going on, but in general, a couple should engage with one another. We don't always have to be. We enjoy being together, like a lot. Yeah. We're affectionate people towards one another. Our kids are like, oh my God, but but it's natural for us. It's not forced. We don't, make that up. And even with that, we are still different personalities.
Yes.
But the love we have for each other feeds our friendship. And that friendship feeds our intimacy. And that intimacy feeds our fire for one another. So we're always happy to see each other.
Yes.
Now, okay. Now we went through a season in our past where it was like, oh Lord, we didn't know how we were immature and we were ignorant of the things we were doing to tear our marriage down.
Yeah. Like it is an endeavor. I don't know if that's a proper word, but it's something that you have to get skilled at. It's something that you have to work towards. It's not just we done it one time, we spent the plate, so it should just keep spinning, right? It's not going to fall to a little stick and going to break, and you're going to have a mess to clean up.
You got to keep it going.
You got to keep it going. Keep it going. It's something that you have to work towards. Yeah. And if you do that, I mean, like starting that, if you are in a situation where, that kind of sound like us, we can not talk to each other for moments or days at a time. And to the other person, it seems normal, so you find yourself in that situation. Well, it's not too late. There's some things that the both of you can do, or you can start and your spouse can say, hey, she's doing something different, or he's doing something different. Right.
And one way to break the ice is to, first of all, you acknowledge your spouse. Appreciate them, validate them for who they are and for how they are, and then express your desire to be closer to them. I would like to do that, and I'd like to do it in a way that's comfortable for you and for me. And so, maybe you could try this, little 5-minute love language quiz. You take yours and I'll take mine, and then we can meet in the middle, and then you can tell me, I'll tell you my score, and you tell me if you agree with it. You tell me yours, and I'll tell you if I agree with it. Now, the 5 love languages basically tells a person, based on how they answer questions, how they experience love and relationships. Whether they like acts of service, they like physical touch, they like gifts. And there are 2 other areas, right? And so then you can find out about yourself, you can find out about your spouse, and then it sparks an interest to have a conversation, to rekindle the romance that you once had, or to build on a romance that may have started in a rocky patch. Yes,
and another, so that's one example. Maybe take the quiz together, and I'll try to make a note for leave you a link in the comments. But another one that you can do, and this will kind of put you out there, is to actually go to your partner and just ask them, what do they need from you?
Ooh, yeah.
You like, wow, this can go a whole bunch of different ways. Let's follow it. Let's follow it. What do you need from me, babe? What would you like, from me? And it can just open up so many conversations, because then the emotions get to going. Not like mad or anger or nothing, but they actually have to reflect and be like, oh, I just would like if you would call me if you're running late for coming home. I'm thinking you come home at 5:30 and it's 6:30 and I haven't heard from you. You're like, wow, I didn't really know that was a thing. I know I do that, but I didn't know that was I think, yes, great, more.
Yeah, I could do. Well, I'm coming home. Don't say that. Well, I'm coming home. Well, yes, but she'd like to know when you're coming home. And that leads to another another point I wanted to make. Sometimes the person in the relationship who doesn't talk because they don't want to be exposed. They don't want it to be revealed what's really going on with them. Whether that's fear, if it's infidelity, if it's, anger, if it's they don't want to discuss the situation because they know it's going to turn into something else. Or the other spouse might be a talker or a nagger, right? And it's like, if I know once I get talking to her or him, it's going to be all night. I don't want to talk all night. See, when you discuss how you relate to one another, and the 5lovelanguages.com, I put it in the comments, but when you're able to figure out how your spouse works, right? And you can do this without that. You can just ask each other the concrete question. But when you figure that out and you get to know how they are, then you can consider how you approach them.
That's right.
You can realize, okay, well, I know I have lots of words. So I need to temper the way that I speak to my husband.
Yes.
I need to not raise my voice. I don't need to be popping my neck and swinging my finger and hand on my hip and raising my voice and to a person who doesn't like to engage. That is not what you want to do.
That's right. Leave room for engagement.
Right.
Take the pause deliberately.
Yeah.
Like, you say something, and your spouse will be like, "Oh yeah, so to answer your question." I'm telling you, it can work miracles. Just let it simmer. What you just said. Leave room for response. And like I said, the topic was: is it normal for couples not to talk to each other? Well, if it's normal, maybe it's not healthy. So if you want a healthy relationship, these are things you can do. So we talked about the 5 love languages. That was 1. 2, we talked about just being vulnerable and asking your partner what they need from you. Yes. That's correct. And the third one was what was the third one, babe?
Well, there's several strategies I wanted to share, and if you want to pull up that other point, there's several strategies. You should talk to your spouse without blaming or accusation, right? So if you have an issue that you want to discuss, you want to make sure that you're not, listen, I need you, that's going to be off-putting to start with. And then, this is very important, ask yourself what you might be doing to contribute to the issue that you're having. Because if the spouse doesn't want to talk to you, self-evaluate. Now, what am I doing? How am I approaching him or her? When am I approaching him or her? What is my tone when I approach him or her? When they approach me, do I walk away? Do I follow through with what I say I'm going to do? Is my body language closed? Am I nagging them or trying to coerce them into doing something that I want or need, which is selfish? Ask yourself those questions. And then I said this before, but acknowledge their perspective on things, right? And respect one another's mannerisms. If my husband is not a very vocal person, I can get him to communicate with me without him having to be me and communicate the way that I communicate, right? You find what works for you. Then also avoid sarcasm.
Wow.
Prideful, snide comments, behavior, and body language. Because you can say, I love you, right? I said it with my mouth, but my body said, you're getting on my nerves. Were you going to add something?
Oh, I'm just saying, sometimes you was like, you never talk to me.
Well, this is not going to make me feel like talking to you. And then there are two more points, as well as avoiding sarcasm and snide comments and saying prideful things. You want to affirm your partner and have discussions in a neutral moment. You don't want to bring up everything that's on your mind in the midst of a conversation. You're trying to discuss one thing. Yeah. Well, and another thing.
We can't talk about everything.
No, at once.
At the same time.
And then stay away from all or nothing, statements. All or nothing comments. You
always quiet. You never speak to me. I'm not always quiet. Yeah. And I do say words. I'm sorry.
It's exaggerating. Don't over exaggerate, and don't make your partner feel like they don't do anything right, or that you do everything right, because neither are true.
That's true.
Neither is true.
That's true.
Yeah.
So hopefully we talked about something. We answered the question, but hopefully we made you think a little deeper about the topic of just finding yourself. The word rut just keeps coming to mind. So just find yourself in that valley, in that place where, you know, the conversation doesn't really flow freely. You know, we really don't try to experience new things. We don't really even plan to experience. We might plan to go visit somebody, the grandkids or the kids, or we might plan on going to the store, going shopping, but we don't really take the time to actually figure out what's the other person's needs and what do they need from you, and how can we, you know, just enjoy this life we have together, this relationship we have together, this marriage, this union that we have together. So if it did, leave a comment, please, and reach out to us and let us know. We're so happy to hear from you.
Yeah, if you got anything out of that, then like you said, just please leave a comment. Share this with someone who may be experiencing this. And we're talking about this on one level, and we know communication issues can have many different levels. But in general, we should be able to communicate with one another, and we should enjoy communication with one another.
That's right. If you find yourself running out of things to say, then find things to do together.
Yeah.
That right there can help you, and it will bless you.
Yeah.
So thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
And we appreciate you. Please share with someone, like White said, and we look forward to seeing you next time here on Couples Pursuit. Bye.